to A Galaxy United, a Star Wars story. Start off, I will be introducing all of my players as who they are playing, but to start off with will be myself. I am Angel, or Angie. I am the DM, Dungeon Goddess, Mother of these Bag of Miscreants. I will be the storyteller for your venture into the galaxy. Next, Matt, if you would be so kind as to introduce yourself and who you're playing as. Maybe. Matt?
Apologies, having some technical difficulties. Please forgive me. Hello, I am Matthew. I'll be playing Ego, droid Mark IV, H360.
Fantastic. Next, Scar, introduce yourself and your character.
I am Scarlet, and I will be playing Ypsilon the Scorned.
Beautiful. Of course, Felicia, if you'd be so kind.
My name is Felicia. I'll be playing Juvia. She has a southern accent. She's a giant spider. I like coffee and cats. The end.
Short, sweet, to the point. I love it. All right, Tim, it's your turn.
Hello there. Yes, my name is Tim, aka Chiller, and I play Navir Kalum, a Jedi Sentinel.
Awesome. Now, my other half, Rob.
My name is Rob. I'm going to be playing Arashi Delavo, a operative spy.
Perfect. Lucy.
Hi, my name is Lucy, and I'm playing a Sith Sentinel named Enoch Kepler.
Awesome. And then
He's a quiet child.
last but not least, Raven.
Greetings all, I'm Raven. I play Ashe Khan, the Jedi Counselor. I get to play more with force powers than most of the cast. Yay!
And that is our cast and crew of this adventure. So, without further ado, let's launch into the galaxy. 50 years ago, the Peachy Keen crew took down the Sith Ascitus and stopped his plans of using hybrids, a bastardization of plant and man, to take over the galaxy on his obsession with remaining with his wife. Since then, peace has reigned through the galaxy undisturbed. The Council of Unity has ruled strongly, governing both factions as well as the Mandalorians, creating a joint union between them all. Newer generations are being born into this peace, and it has caused a widespread collective sigh. No wars have happened, which is shocking in and of itself. That is until now. For the past few days, members of our party have trickled into the Unity Station, getting accommodated to the large space station's design, as well as getting better acquainted with the other members they will be working with. Now that the last, albeit somewhat mysterious, member has joined them, the rest and relaxation has come to a halt. So, your party has collected currently in the main living area of the station. As you guys are preparing for what seems to have started out as a regular day, a personal assistant droid arrives to fetch you. You've seen several of them around the station. There really isn't anything shocking to it. There's nothing unique about it. It's just a regular personal assistant droid. As it arrives, it kind of inclines its head and gestures to the door and says, "Excuse me, masters and mistresses. The council will see you now. Please follow me." And the droid will make its way out of the room and wait in the hallway for you.
Ashe will go ahead and make sure that she is presentable, as she's still used to dealing with high society, so she wants to make sure she looks good for as much as she can before following after the droid pretty fast. Well, not pretty fast, but following along.
Sure.
Arashi will.
Enoch's already.
Arashi will also follow.
Yeah, Enoch's just walking straight, straight down.
Naveer's following as well.
I hate to say it, but the droids know better than to walk into Juvia's room. So they're greeted by BG, who gives sad beep noises of like, don't even try it. So it's a couple minutes, but Juvia does eventually wake up out of her stuffy pile and joins the group.
Fair. I assume the most chaotic one also joins.
After probably more than a few replacements, the droids have also learned not to brazenly encroach on Epsilon's space. Though on the bright side, the twins were ready for this arrival, and they're the ones that answered the door and fetched their master. So Epsilon will follow after some time in awakening
Fair.
and rebriefing of how to act in front of the council.
How does one act? As you guys kind of regroup out into the hall, with a couple of minutes, of course, to accommodate for stragglers, the personal assistance droid will lead you guys down the hall to the elevator. Once you guys enter the elevator and transition to another floor, you guys will move through the station that you've become, albeit very familiar with at this point. There are some faceless, NPCs that have greeted you, various engineers, scientists, etc. And you guys make your way to these larger doors. Up until now, this area has been off limits for you all until today. The personal assistance droid does not enter the doors, however, and just kind of pauses and will gesture to the doors and say, "The council are inside and awaiting you." Upon your group entering the council room, you will notice that it is a semicircle of chairs. There are 9 chairs with 9 bodies in them, which you have come to know as the Council of Unity. They are very prominent members, ranging from Jedi to Sith to, in particular, 2 Mandalorians. As you guys enter, you kind of stand in the middle of this semicircle. There are, again, 9 members of the council. One in particular is in the middle. You guys would know this person as Jax Onassi, the daughter of the late Revan. While the majority of you all have become very aware of who this person is by name, now that you have seen her, you realize she is very reminiscent to her mother from what you all have seen in the hollow bits, because Revan had passed before many of you were born. She sits in the middle, as she is kind of the talker head. Adjacent to her right is another female of red skin, many scars, much older than she was, but still very prominently respected and admired and famous. Ven Morrison, one of the original members of the Peachy Keen and one of the founders Council of Unity. Also the pseudo-aunt to Jax Onassi and her twin brother. On Jax's left is a formidable-looking older human male. He has grayed skin, gray hair, and he looks very stone-faced. His eyes don't seem to really pass over the crew in interest, more of just a vague acknowledgement. Save for Enoch. His eyes hyper-focus on Enoch. And he actually graces Enoch with a bow of his head. As you guys become aware of him, you realize that this is none other than the current standing Sith Emperor and council member, Haken. He is a very prominent member of the Sith, incredibly strong with the Force. So those of you who are prominent with the Force can feel the power within him. These three seem to be the collective head of the council. And the rest of the members kind of peer at you respectfully. There's a female Twi'lek, another male human, an older male human, and a much younger male human. There is a Sith pureblood sitting upon the council, and the two Mandalorians, one of which is sitting, and she has her helmet off. She has a scar over her right eye. You guys would recognize her as Mother Mandalore, the leader of the Mandalorians. Or, to those of you who followed the adventures of the Peachy Keen many, many years ago, none other than Drea Fett, Delvin Fett's daughter. And adjacent to her is probably the biggest Mandalorian you have ever seen. He is stocky. He is standing behind his chair because he could not fit in it or would probably break it. For those of you who are prominent in the Force, this particular being emits a very strange turquoise blue glow. It does not say a word, but just kind of regards you all with neutrality. As you guys enter and kind of become aware of the council before you, the door's shut. When the door's shut, Jax kind of sits up a bit and greets you all with a bow, and she goes, "I trust that you've enjoyed your time on the station thus far."
I think we're all just kind of looking at each other, being like, "Who wants to speak first?"
Ashe will do a bow to Jax and say, "We have very much, thank you."
I'm glad. I know it's been a little bit of a long, patient wait for you all, and I apologize. We were awaiting for all of you to get here before we called you in. But now that you are here, we can get started. And she just kind of sits back and seems to get a little bit more relaxed and clasps her hands over her lap. As all of you know, we have reached out to you all because of your individual abilities and feel that you would be very useful for a mission that we have. This mission requires the utmost secrecy, and it is going to require all of your skills and for you all to work together. How familiar are all of you with the story of my mother and the Peachy Keen?
That'll be a hard no from me, darling.
If it did not involve Billy, I did not care. Though you're quite the badass.
I think it had everything to do with Viri Epsilon.
Yeah, but I only paid attention to the past where she was, like, prominent. Or somebody else that was cool.
Rush will make
mean-
eye contact with Vin on the council. Just nod.
You see the rather stoic looking Ben, like, slight curve of a grin as she just nods in return. Jax seemed like the corner of her lips kind of twitch in amusement, especially at you, Epsilon. She goes, yeah, my Aunt Mary is, well, life isn't boring with her, suffice to say. Well, it's long before most of us were born, and she kind of casts a cheeky glance to Ben and Hakan on her other side, the latter of whom does not respond and still has his eyes trained on Enoch. Ven just kind of gives her a brief glance. Jax continues. My mother, in her youth, had found these enormous space stations called Star Forges. These stations were used to create her massive army that she and her, at the time, apprentice concocted and used for the Sith at the time. These stations had remained lost for a while as she dealt with some amnesia before, and she pauses and glances at Ben. Those of you who are aware and know of the Peachy Keen, you know that 50 years ago, Ven's husband at the time had found a Star Forge in which he had created his hybrids. A very difficult set of enemies that almost wiped the galaxy out, had it not been for the members of the Peachy Keen, Ven included. And she gets a nod from Ven before she continues. One was founded and used for the creation of some hybrids before my aunt, as she gestures to Ben, and the rest of the Peachy Keen crew destroyed it. But it has come to our attention that not all of the Star Forges that my mother knew about prior to her amnesia have been removed. And we are heavily concerned that the Star Forges will be used in a similar fashion as Asidus. So, we have asked you all to come here to help us find them and destroy them. Of course,
Do we-
you'll be... Of course, you will be compensated accordingly, not only with this station, but with funds to do what you need, as well as the resources that we collectively can gather for you. But our resources can only go so far. We need some heavily talented individuals.
Understood. Do we have an idea about how many that we'll be looking for?
There were a total of 10 that my mother had found. One she had destroyed herself, and one that my family destroyed with the Peachy Keen. So there's only 8 left in the galaxy.
And that is more than mildly concerning.
Considering what they are capable of and the fact that they can mass produce armies at any given will, it is best that all of them are removed quickly.
Right, and it does go ahead and explain how thoroughly the previous empire who used them was able to hold so much of the galaxy if one was enough to go ahead and do what your mother did. Again, more than mildly concerning.
Precisely. Hence our concern, and we don't want to draw the wrong attention to the Star Forges, hence the secrecy. But you all are perhaps the best of the best. Some of you are very well trained in the Force. Some of you have various tactical skills, other assets. There's not a place that you could have gone in this galaxy that you hadn't been observed. So, that's why we reached out to you. Not only would you be the next heroes of the galaxy, but also, again, we would compensate accordingly. I don't entirely believe there is nothing but altruism between you all. That would be foolish. And I understand that funds would be required as well as other resources, hence the building of this station. I'm sure some of you, as her eyes kind of sweep across the party, have questions or concerns. So, and she opens her hands in a gesture of, go ahead.
I do have a question.
Yes?
Where is it that you think we should start looking for these? If you say that there's 8 Star Forges, they could be anywhere in the galaxy. People haven't found them yet. What's our best course of action?
Well, my mother, actually. She had holovids she recorded of her journey back when she was Darth Revan. They detailed her ventures with the Star Forges, discovering them in the galaxy with Malik. And before she had lost her memories of that time, she had hid them. But there are some spots that we have become aware of that might have the holovids, and the holovids that you find will lead you to others. I do have a list of several planets that my mother has been to that I feel would be good to do research on.
So, what are the planets?
Well,
The hope is that once we find those, they'll be Forges.
correct. The planets in particular that my mother had spent a copious amount of time on were Manon, Kashyyyk, Dantooine, Tatooine, and Nar Shaddaa.
Beyond Nar Shaddaa, a lot of it was planets that she'd been to in her previous adventure, with gaining her memories back.
Also, what about Rakata Prime, where the other Star Forge was? Was there any information about that?
Unfortunately, no. When Asidus's Starforge was destroyed, it damaged much of Rakata Prime. And there was no trace of anything left of my mother.
What of the Rakatans who are still there?
They have opted to go reclusive, given the amount of times that others had come to their planet seeking the Starforges and continued to use them in the worst possible way. So unfortunately, that ancient civilization has cut itself off and will not help, at least for now.
So you want us to find these Starforges and destroy them?
First, you need to find my mother's holobits. You need to find the information that she has on them. These planets are the only known planets that we know of, but her holobits should direct you to others. Once you know where they are and have located them, then yes, you will need to dismantle them however you see fit.
With the list given, which is the first you would recommend we go to? And perhaps where within on the planet would you recommend we look? Because the planets are certainly vast enough to find a small item.
That is correct. Starting on any of them would do, though admittedly Nar Shaddaa would probably yield more information collectively because that is a moon of information. There might be somebody there who could help you as well. But you would need to travel where my mother traveled. The old Jedi temple on Dantooine. The sands of Tatooine. The shadowlands of Kashyyyk. And beneath the surface of Manan.
When do we begin?
Whenever you are ready. This station will go with you. We will remain on Coruscant and will depart as soon as you are ready. And as I said, the station will follow you, but your own individual transports that are docked here will also be used. Consider this station and the people who are working on it working under you. This will be your main hub of sorts as you traverse the galaxy. Anything that you find can come back here, and our scientists can study it to give any answers, whether it's technology or animals or plants. This is also a place of reprieve.
Now, hold on a moment. That brings me to my question. Will we have allies when we go on this expedition?
You will have many allies. As a matter of fact, my brother and my son are consistently traversing the galaxy with one of my uncles, and they are also, I believe, on Nar Shaddaa, and will come in handy. There are many others, of course, including Mandalorians. And she kind of gives a glance over to who you know as Mother Mandalore, and for those of you who do know, none other than Legion itself beside her.
Wonderful. Now my next question is what sort of enemies are we looking at? I kind of want to know what to expect while we're on this little journey in Shindig.
It would be safe to assume that you will come up against enemies that are Force users. You will come up against enemies that have no use of the Force whatsoever. Just as my mother could influence and inspire all types, you will come up against all types. Though I do believe the majority that you will run into will be of a cult.
Beautiful. I can't wait to use inspiring of my own. With my fist.
What is this cult that you speak of?
For the last couple of years, we have heard rumors in the galaxy. This cult refers to themselves as the Cult of Asidus. Ragtag followers who liked the idea of wiping out both the Republic and the Empire and building from scratch. They are trying to find ways to redo the hybrids that Asidus failed to mass produce, hence their look for the Starforge. At the mention of hybrids, you notice the large, glowing Mandalorian's head tilt ever so slightly. And Jax kind of seems to notice this out of the corner of her eye, and she looks over. And she takes a breath before she sighs and nods and looks back at your group. I would like to introduce you all to Legion. They are, well, the reason Asidus wanted to create these hybrids, and why the Mandalorians have gotten seemingly stronger, and are an uncle of sorts. They, too, will help guide you in this journey. Legion tilts its head the other way. Then seems to look down at Drea, and she just gives a nod before it kind of stands up straight and then almost mechanically gives a bow before speaking. We are honored to help our Jax and the new recruits in finding this cult. We do not want to become the monsters it tried to make us. We enjoy our freedom.
Enoch's just kind of looking over Legion and gives a small little nod of understanding to its voiced opinion on the matter.
Asha is also going to be looking at Legion just kind of in awe about everything he is and how he just radiates in the Force. He's the most fascinating thing in the room, honestly. And while she has been listening, she's just been watching him in her 360 vision because, honestly, he's just so fascinating to look at because that's an amazing aspect of the Force.
Yep. Because you are gifted in certain ways in the Force, you do notice that the entire glowing just force all the way through the armor, but there's no body. It's just a glow. As Legion had spoken, you guys would notice that there was not one voice, but a multitude of voices. One seemed to kind of particularly echo in the back. Epsilon, you would recognize this voice as Delvin Fett's voice, talking alongside Legion.
I already don't like they can talk. I don't like even less that I recognize their voices.
No worries, dear. It's just the voices in your head.
Yet nobody told me it fucking does that.
Hold the stuffy and sit down, child.
Get it out of my head.
I can do that with one punch. I'm a cure-all kind of woman.
Shay is just taking a deep breath and trying so hard not to cause any problem. It's not going to be her that causes the problem.
I mean, valid. Jack seems particularly amused by your reaction, Epsilon. And she goes, yes, Legion can talk. Legion is a sentient plant that is very, very strong in the Force.
I have noticed, and I'm sure that many of the Force sensitives have also noticed as well. I can see why that was a big problem with. I can't pronounce his name. Isidus?
Asidus.
Asidus. I can think of it. Yeah. A big issue with what Asidus was trying to do. So just looking at him as he is and understanding what he wanted to do is even more terrifying. But also abuse this wonderful creation of life on the Force. It disgusts me.
Now hold on a dang minute. You're being a little insensitive and saying just Force users. I'm a little offended.
I do not mean to offend, but I don't know if you can see what I can see with how he's just radiating with such light.
I don't know how you can see with how you see.
Does he look like a glow stick to you? It, he, them, they?
It's a they. There's a lot of them.
What does it identify as?
It looks like one of those rave parties.
Well, Epsilon, yes. I guess. In fact, Legion does look like a glowing light of the Force. Very many lights, actually.
Real quick, Ange, out of game, when Legion speaks, is it actually like speaking, or is it communicating telepathically through our heads?
No, it is speaking with this multitude of voices. For those of you who are studied in the Force, you understand that because of its affinity with the Force and the fact that Legion is so connected in the Force, being a Force-grown entity, it is voices of who you presume, based on hearing Del's voice alone, had connection with Legion in the past. And it has grown into kind of this chorus. Though, almost seemingly, if not respectfully, Del's voice kind of is a little bit more prominent. And you kind of see, like, as Legion has spoken, Drea kind of turns her head. Like, there's a wistfulness in her gaze before she looks back at you all. In response to what you refer to them as, Legion's head kind of bows respectfully and says, "We do not have what many say are," and it seems to pause for a moment, hesitating for the words, "pronouns, we believe you would call them. We are simply us." we will know if you are speaking to us.
Epsilon just like really slowly nods with a look of just disconcern. Oh, great. This creepy plant hive mind is just, yeah, of course it just knows. Gets its own pronouns and everything.
Hey now, that's some new age stuff. You better be respectful, or I'll take the stuffies away, darling.
Just keep it out of my head. And armor. And ship.
Legion kind of tilts its head curiously as it regards you, Epsilon. And Legion
Oh, I don't like
says,
that.
We do not understand why we would need to take the Epsilon's armor, as we have our own armor. And we do not enter one's head without permission, for we were taught by the Drea this consent. And you see Drea facepalm.
Yep. Let us just keep on the lack of consent of the headspace. And yeah, just remember, you have your own armor. You do not need mine. And we will be cool.
Navir is just like snickering so badly, he's trying his hardest not to bust out gut laughing.
You can see that there are some members of the council that are also trying really, really hard not to laugh. The only two that seem to be keeping it together are Ven, who looks like she is just over it already, and Haken, who, again, seemed to have been looking at Enoch, but just slowly has turned to look at Legion. And the best way you can describe his face is this neutral perplexity. Like, he still hasn't gotten used to Legion in 50 years. And he probably never will. Legion kind of continues to look at you. You imagine if it had a face, it would also be confusion as it's looking at you, Epsilon. And it goes, we do not understand. We would not be able to fit in the Epsilon armor. We do not understand what the Epsilon is concerned of.
That's what she said.
And Navir
Yeah.
can't hold it anymore. Act on.
Exactly. You will not fit. Don't even worry about it. It is fine.
That's also what she said.
Ashe is just rubbing her face, trying very hard just rubbing her face.
I've seen a lot of HoloNet. I know where that can go, and it will not go.
Anyway, as hilarious as all of this is, this does bring up a very valid point. Clearly, we're surrounded by some of the most powerful Force users and, Mandalorians and everyone else here. Why us?
Jax kind of clears her throat.
I presume.
Jax kind of clears her throat and kind of sits up, like, okay, gotta be business. But when Enoch goes to speak, she gestures with kind of a warm smile for you to continue.
He gives her a small nod before looking over. I presume it's because it requires a level of certain delicacy that is not easy to do when you're as well known as they are. A certain discretion, if you will.
Do we look like a discreet party to you?
I do not know the meaning of the word.
No, but we do look like a deniable asset if need be.
Point taken.
Jax kind of just smirks at you all, and she kind of gives a gesture to herself, and she goes, I'm the daughter of Revan. My aunt is the leader of the Jedi Council. Hakan is the Emperor of the Sith. It would be a little bit suspicious if we went off on an adventure by ourselves. Enoch is correct. You all have your own abilities, of which we are all aware of, and we feel that you are the right group to tackle this. Of course, we're not asking you to do this alone. That would be suicidal. So, like I said, my brother and my son will meet you on Nar Shaddaa, as well as a few others. And while the rest of us will continue to operate the Council of Unity on Coruscant, someone has offered to stay behind as communication between us and you. And Jax, as her voice implies, seems a little bit bewildered. And 8 sets of heads turn to look at Legion.
Enoch also looks at Legion.
I guess we're all looking at Legion.
Yes, we're all
Epsilon
looking.
side eyes Legion.
Legion.
It's Legion, isn't it?
It's Legion. Legion puts a hand on its chest and does a much less mechanical but still respectful bow and says, "We believe that we have assets that would help the group in the search for this cult. And we do get bored sitting on the council as the council talks. And the Drea has requested that we offer our services so that the Drea can properly focus on the council." And again, Drea face palms. It is heavily implied that that should not have been said.
Yeah, probably not.
Well, Ashe will give him a smile and a nod and say, "We would be happy to have you."
Speak for yourself.
I, for one, am looking forward to it.
Drea just kind of sighs heavily and gives Legion a look before she looks at you all and she goes, "Obviously that should not have been said. Thank you, Uncle, for your candor. But yes, Legion is a little uncomfortable with the cult. And I can't exactly lead the Mandalorians the way I want to when my right-hand man is in my ear." And she gives Legion a look, which there's a head tilt of the Mandalorian armor before Legion goes, "But we are not in your ear, the Drea. We are beside you."
Out of game. Basically, Legion is Drax confirmed.
A lot of the nuances and puns and references go completely over Legion's head. Legion is
I am all for it.
Legion is Drax and just speaks with the royal we. So they are a character.
They're going to be a joy.
They are an absolute delight. But Jax seems to kind of recover from the slight from her cousin. After giving Drea a look, she looks back at you guys and she goes, "With that, we will head to our shuttle and return back to Coruscant for more diplomacy. We will leave Legion here. Legion has their own sector that you may go to at any time, but before I forget," and she pulls up a data pad and kind of types a few things in. One by one, you all on your communicators get kind of a ping As you access it, you each will notice that 15,000 credits have been given to each of you. And Jax will say, I don't imagine that you will need only this amount to start with, but especially if you are going to go to Nar Shaddaa, you do need money, as that is a very common language there in and of itself. Of course, should you need any other funds or any other resources, you have ways to contact us, but for now, this should suffice, and may the Force be with you.
I am going to speak for myself since Epsilon made that point, but I thank you kindly for everything, and y'all come back now, you hear?
Jax is thoroughly amused by you, Juvia, and they will nod, and the council will kind of get up and slowly kind of make their way to the door. Enoch, you were very aware of a certain set of eyes that have been on you this whole time, and a certain human male has kind of lingered back, waiting. Hasn't said anything, is not glaring, very, very neutral presence, but is waiting.
Enoch, I think he's taken a fancy to you. You might want to show him your plants.
Oh, Juvie.
He just gives Juvia a what look before he moves over.
Just ignore it. Just go
to the
talk to
dude.
him. You know.
I meant your desert plants since they're so rare and special.
He didn't have a cactus. Where would he keep his cactus?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Does he just carry cactuses? That sounds slightly
I don't know. Where does he put the cactus? Like, his pockets aren't big enough.
Bend over and I'll show you.
Pocket cactus?
Ooh, pocket cactus. That'd be cool. Hey, Juvie, do you have a pocket cactus?
No, I got
I
pocket
always pronounce
vines,
his name as
sweetheart.
I always pronounce it as Hawken, not Haken, so I'm like, oh wait, I gotta figure out how to say his name properly.
That's a heckin' good time. Juvie's just gonna call him
so
check-in.
angry all the time. She's been mispronouncing his name this whole time. That's why he's so angsty.
I expect it. It's fine. Anyway. As you approach him, Enoch, his hands are clasped behind his back, standing what would be the equivalency of parade rest, just watching you.
Enoch will come to a halt in front of him, and hands also behind his back, be waiting for him to speak after he gives like a short bow and greeting.
Your master kind of observes the rest of the party briefly before his eyes go back to you, and he goes, well, my apprentice, quite the crew you have.
Indeed, it looks to be an interesting group.
I trust you've taken time to speak with them.
Most of them, yes.
And what is your opinion on your new crew?
He kind of like observes the others for a moment as he's thinking before he looks back. I think we have potential, and it might require some work. I get the feeling not everyone has worked in a team before, but we'll make it happen.
Well, if anyone can whip them into shape, I suspect it is you. That being said,
Kind of like dips its head.
that being said, remember your place. You are my apprentice, and thus, as you travel the galaxy, you represent me.
Yes, master.
Good. Now, he reaches out, he cups his big hand on your shoulder, because he is a large human, and he will lean into you, Enoch, and say, I'm sure that you will do our blood proud, but do not let anything distract you from the mission. Do you understand me?
I understand.
Good. I will, of course, be in touch. Now, on your way.
Off to the
He
side.
gives him another polite bow before turning and going back to the others.
Off to the side. Arashi's gonna wait till Van is passing by, just reach out and grab her arm, give her a look. You sure about this?
Ven gives you a smile and just kind of pats your hand, and she says, I am. They're not the Peachy Keen, but they'll do.
Alright, well, you haven't steered me wrong before.
I don't intend to start.
It's good seeing you again, Aunt.
It's good to see you too, dear. Say hello to your mother for me.
Will do. And we'll turn around and head out.
Meanwhile, Jax has been pulled from leaving by none other than Epsilon.
Yes, Miss X, ma'am, Miss, Mrs. Councilwoman.
You can just call me Jax.
X, big. First off, big fan. You know the whole Revan noise. But just two things I wanted to. One question and one clarification, if I may.
Chorus.
The clarification first. With the whole destroy, eradicate, Starforges thing, is my worlds wanted me to be sure. I asked very specifically if there are any limitations or restraints to doing so. Because I've kind of taken out an entire moon, and I am not above doing it again.
Jax gives you a smile, and Epsilon, even though she's not completely like Revan, you kind of get this feeling in your chest like Senpai noticed me. When she smiles at you and she puts a hand on your shoulder and she goes, why do you think that I asked for you specifically, Epsilon?
It's like straight up like Charmander derp faces for a second.
Senpai noticed me. Senpai adjacent?
Senpai adjacent? Yeah, that sounds right. Like, to the point where she almost forgets she had a second question. She just kind of, like, lapses for a hard second.
Dial-up sound intensifies.
Yeah, basically. And it just kind of, like, comes back to her that, like, they're still in a conversation and this is for later. She, like, shakes her head a little bit to clear it and, like, adjusts her mask to be like, oh yeah, that's right. This is still an active conversation. And secondly, how likely could we, with the allies and the assistants, vary? Kind of like gives her a little like elbow and the brow waggle.
Wait.
Epsilon has no subtlety. Confirmed.
Oh God, no. No subtlety whatsoever.
She has zero tact.
Absolute, less than zero, as a matter of fact. Jax is very amused by this, and she goes, "I can't say for complete certain, but I don't imagine that she would let this cult go without her having a word or two otherwise. Asidus took a lot from her, and I'm sure she would love to have a few words with the cult." And she just kind of looks like that's the terrifying idea.
Epsilon thinks back to her initial first interrogation scene. So inspiring.
100%.
I mean, if she wants to just casually, personally drop me a line or something, get first-hand updates of progress, or stop by and, words of encouragement or advice or autographs or assistance. Just if she's not too busy, of course. I think it would go a long way, for the party, their morale and stuff. Not that I need any kind of encouragement, of course.
Somehow,
Calm the cactus in your pants, Epsilon.
Yeah. Somehow, Epsilon, you have a feeling that Jax just knows better. And she just kind of slightly raises her brow and goes, "Well, if it will raise the morale of the group, I think I might be able to put a word in or two. But I don't make any promises." She is a very busy woman.
She just gets that like little anime like stars in her eyes thing for a second. With considering her eye augments is completely accurate. She literally has digital stars in her eyes. Before like flickers back to her normal heterochromic look. Of course. That I just wanted to, put it out there, and that, yeah, big fan. Appreciate both of that. She's kind of like finger guns and starts to kind of like slightly back away. She's not super great at ending a conversation.
Straight up SpongeBob reference. I love it.
You get the feeling that Jax is probably used to this level of awkwardness and seems to have expected it. And she will kind of give Epsilon a little bit of a bow before the rest of the council, except for Legion, leaves out of the council room, while Legion just kind of stands there, seemingly to observe the rest of the party.
Once again, y'all come back now, you hear? Pleasant meeting you.
Yeah, Epsilon like totally fangirls a little bit to herself as soon as she leaves, like squeeze
fanning
and
herself
play
and
a little bit
everything.
of- oh yeah, the fanning, a little bit of arm flailing, bouncing in place a bit.
Even though Ashe isn't looking at you, you can feel her attention just on Epsilon, just staring like, what?
Did you have fun talking to Jax?
Oh, yes, of course. Strictly business. We have a very personal connection, so I wanted to assure her that we've got this handled.
You're sweating, dude.
I am a lady. I do not sweat unless it is in the heat of battle. And then you may confuse sweat for the blood of my enemies.
Well, whatever it is, it's coming out of your head.
Yeah, it is likely the oil from training droid that I was fighting this morning. So do we just leave him in the corner? Do we need to water him? What? They?
Never's cackling.
Points
was
over
that-
at Legion and said, look, a distraction.
Because of said pointing out distractions, but you know what? I'm gonna leave that alone. It's not my business, not my attention. She actually is gonna make her way over to Legion, give a respectful bow, and say, "It is a pleasure to meet you."
Legion has been just kind of observing you guys when you come over to Shay. Legion looks at you and kind of bows their head and will say, "We are pleased to meet the Ashay as well."
Navir also kind of walks over and gives a slight bow. It's like, a pleasure to meet you. I've heard much about you.
It is a pleasure to meet the Navarro as well. We have heard of the Ashay and the Navir, and we are happy to finally meet.
What have you heard about us?
We have been informed of your abilities and skills and your history. And then Legion kind of turns to look at you, Ashay, and tilts its head a little bit and goes, "The Ashay reminds us of the Io. Is the Ashay related to the Io?"
Was Io a Muraluka?
The Io did not have regular eyes as the Viri or the Ven. And
That
the
would be a
Ashay does
Miraluka.
not either.
Then he may have been the same race that I was. Yes, I do not see as others do, so it's very likely that we are sharing the same way of seeing through the Force. So that's probably why you would notice such. Do you notice things through the Force as well?
We are connected to what others call the Force. We just simply are. It has been in our nature and continues to be in our nature.
To use a small phrase that I'm sure you won't understand, but you can easily ask, I desire to pick your brain and understand how you see and how you connect with the Force. It's simply fascinating. You radiate with such amazing life.
Ashay, they don't exactly understand metaphors. What she's trying to say is she wants to learn more about you.
Correctly caught. The somehow a helmet can portray a look of perplexity, because that phrase literally went over Legion's head. No, like, Legion was about to ask why you wanted to pick their brain. That didn't sound necessary. But at the clarification, Legion nods and goes, "Oh, we understand. The Ashay wants to understand how our connection with the Force is."
As do I, but yes, that is correct.
Yeah, out of character, I did that on purpose because I want the Drax interactions. I thought that was hilarious. And she also has a habit of, unfortunately, due to high society politicians and everything, that speaking in higher, more socially correct tones. I don't know the words I'm using right now. I'm still kind of tired. But yeah, so I'm kind of picking around for the the Drax in our actions.
Yeah, basically it's politicians doublespeak, like saying without actually saying it, but kind of hinting at it kind of thing. So, yeah, out of game, I could tell, and I was just like, yeah, Navir would probably just interject and be like, yeah, this is what he meant.
Yeah, so it's probably helpful of doing the dumbing down the words if it's situated like, oh, right, yeah, I need to lower the words down. Oops. But yeah, in character though, she goes, yes, apologies for that. But yeah, I wish to. I'm fascinated with much of the Force, and I would like to call myself a scholar of it and its many uses, even while dealing with politicians. So to actually meet someone like you, it's fascinating, and I'd like to maybe help you understand more of that by also understanding more of it together, if possible.
We have been asked many times by many who use the Force. Head tilt slightly. We believe they are called the Jedi? We only know of the Ven and the Viri, and the Jax, and the Joseph. But they have asked how we use the Force. And we have shown a little bit, but we believe there is a lot of knowledge that we cannot convey because we believe it is called a language barrier. We do not know how to show the Force as we see it to the Ashe or the Jedi. It is what the Ven would say is a complicated matter.
All the more fascinating and all the more reason that I would love to learn possibly with you. I know that it's a language barrier, but as part of what my job is very often, I have to break those barriers plenty of times. So it may be difficult, but I'm not one to give up.
We are happy to teach you the ways of us, if the Ashe is truly curious.
I am, and I look forward to learning with you.
As am I, if you don't mind.
We would be happy to have the Ashe and the Nivere learn about our capabilities. The Drea and the Ven and the Jax spoke very highly of the Ashe and the Nivere and the Epsilon and the Juvia and the Enoch.
Out of game, Ange, are you having fun putting the in front of everyone's names?
Maybe. Perhaps this is
The
Maybe
flashback
absolutely.
it's giving me for one of my characters.
Listen, Legion was like one of my favorite NPCs I ever created for the Peachy Keen, so having him back is making me super happy.
Oh, don't worry. We're gonna let him be here quite a bit and get a lot of use out of him. Oh, baby.
This will be
Expect
fun.
nothing less.
Legion, one question, if you don't mind. Exactly how old are you?
Legion kind of pauses, and there is no expression on the helmet, but to those of us that are alive and have been alive since the time of dial-up, you would imagine that there is a dial-up tone going on as he's trying to mathematically imply it.
And just like that, Dial-Up was interested in Star Wars.
I know, right? Legion is quiet for a moment before the head tilts and they say, we do not know. We do not measure time the way that others do. We simply are.
How do you measure? Would you, as you are a plant and connected with that, measure in seasons, perhaps?
Where we are from does not have seasons as other planets would. We just know of time as it simply is. We never had much use for the time. It was not relevant to us. Though, when we were on the ship, we measured time differently. It was in sorrow and pain and torture and doing things we did not wish to do.
So you measure your... I suppose you measure your age by your feelings?
The feelings come and go. They do not stay for long, nor do they last for a short time. There is no measurement for time for us. We simply are.
Fair enough. It is a different way of living, and not everyone will experience the same. So, understandable.
Well, you are certainly not the first potentially immortal being that I've come across, but I certainly look forward to learning more about you in the future.
We look
Out of
forward
character.
to more time with the new crew. We have missed time with a crew since the Peachy Keen. But the IO has taken the Peachy Keen on adventures and has said that the Legion needed to stay behind with the Drea.
Or were you planning on saying, Raven? Sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, out of character, you said potentially immortal being. I'm like, thinking, how old is Dirge?
Very. The answer is very.
And is Dirge effectively around?
Possibly. Who knows?
That's going to be an interesting interaction if we deal with that. Hopefully not.
There are many things in the galaxy that you have yet to explore and that you will explore.
Oh, joys. But nonetheless, back in character. We would still be happy to have you with us, and I'm sure that you will probably want to experience more of the galaxy again.
Legion nods and kind of observes the rest of your crew before looking back at you all and goes, we believe that we should prepare the station to go to the Nar Shaddaa. And then pauses, tilts its head a little bit, goes, we believe that that is the correct name, but the Viri refer to it as Nar Shaddaa.
Epsilon represses a hard giggle.
It's Nar Shaddaa. Viri just likes to have her own unique names for something like that.
We believe that the Viri is very unique. We miss the Viri.
As do we. We do hope to meet her one day.
We would like to see the Viri again.
Not worry, strange entity. The Vili and I, we have a connection. I'm sure she will come by. She's like casually just looking at her nails, like, yeah, I totally know her.
And Navir just kind of looks at him and goes, oh, really? When did you meet?
I mean, not like, we haven't met in person yet, but, we're both very busy, but we have had correspondence. I do head her largest online market of merchandise and fan stuff, including collectibles from her adventures. Actually, Dijon, do you have anything of yours?
Ashay giving you the mental just eyebrow raise and the force right at you.
Navir's just cackling. He's just loving this.
Legion tilts its head kind of thoughtfully and goes, we have a few things from our time on the Peachy Keen. I do believe we have a few things of the Viri. Would the Epsilon like to see the Viri items?
The Epsilon would very much like to see the items, yes.
I better go with the Epsilon, make sure the Epsilon doesn't go too crazy.
That everyone is starting to talk like Legion now. It's great.
You knew it was coming.
I did. I accepted this.
Essentially, it's the best way to kind of subtly verbally connect with Legion, so he kind of gets the gist that we're speaking like you, so we can go ahead and make things a little easier with you.
Legion kind of has like this solemn nod, like, yep, this is what we will do. This is the plan. And says, we will need to gather our things from the council shuttle, but by the time we have got to the Nar Shadda, we will have the very items to show you.
Excellent. We look forward to going to Nar Shadda.
Ashe is very much like her lips keep like twitching and everything. She's trying not to laugh at that because that is ridiculously silly, but it's also kind of adorable that this force plant entity is saying that. It's just, and I'm mentally like out of character. I'm just picturing Baymax.
Kind of, yeah.
Damn it! So
That's
she's
where
just
I was like, I could hear Nar Shadda in some way, and I couldn't place what I was hearing. And I'm like, it's Baymax. That's what I was hearing.
Basically, Baymax would be like, Nar Shadda, da.
It sounds like he's glitching a little bit and just repeating it.
Legion will kind of bow to you all and say, we will go gather our things from the shuttle so that we can say goodbye to the Drea and the Ben and the Jax. And we will meet you in the, we believe are called the existing quarters?
It's close enough.
the dorms would probably be the best way to call it.
Now let's have this. I like that. It exists. That is accurate. We don't even know if this thing is actually alive. Like, it just exists. It is not living quarters. It is existing.
Legion kind of nods in agreement with Epsilon and goes, the Epsilon understands us. You are existing in there, therefore it is the existing quarters.
He just nods very matter-of-factly, like, yeah, clearly.
Existing quarters it is. We will meet you there.
Legion kind of gives a bow and then leaves, leaving your entire party in this kind of council meeting room to yourselves to kind of recuperate over the meeting that has happened, the various conversations that have or are occurring, and give you a bit of time before you would have to worry about traversing to Nar Shadda.
Now shut up.
To meet Horizon.
I'm just imagining all of us just be like, Nar Shadda. And we're just all just doing it right now.
Yeah, everyone's just doing it, yeah.
I'm here for it. Everybody's mimicking Legion, it's fine.
Not every day.
Does Legion even?
Not every day.
Does Legion even register that we're making fun?
I know, Legion does not connect with that at all.
Yeah, Naveer's not making fun. He's just having the time of his life right now.
Yes, as you are having a conversation with Arashi, Enoch, there is a message through the Force from your master. By the way, apprentice, it seems that there may be some introductions to be made to your companion. Be sure that they know how to treat her properly. I would not want to issue a cleaning crew for this mess and try to find a new party for you.
Sorry, that's just really funny imagery, but anyway. He'll respond in turn with, "Yes, master." Before kind of clapping his hands a couple times to get everyone's attention.
She was actually already on her way over to talk to him originally, so it's, apparently he's trying to catch attention, so hey, what's up?
Oh, are we playing hand games now? Are you ready, Enoch? I am really good at those hand games. Let me tell you, I got hands for days. Want to play a game? I got you. Do you know Miss Mary Mac?
She's still going.
I love it.
I don't believe I know that game, but
Oh,
no, I was
Lord.
nearly
Good
getting
God.
everyone's attention.
Yes,
Oh.
Enoch. What is it, Enoch?
Hey, I wasn't done. I know tons of handicapping games. Do you know the one that goes, let me think now. It's been some time since me and Dora have played games. Oh, it's the one that goes, Miss Susie had a steamboat. The steamboat had a bell, ding ding. Miss Susie went to heaven. The steamboat went to hello, operator. Please give me a number 9. Do you know that one at all, darling?
No.
Wow, you are so uncultured right now. That's a universal thing.
I mean, I've never heard of it.
She's surrounded by peasants.
Y'all need to learn some hand clapping games, you uncultured swine. Let me tell you, good golly, Miss Molly.
Anyway, what is it, Enoch?
Before we go about our ways, it is crucial that I introduce you to Event Horizon. For various reasons. We need to go down to the southern hangar bay, and you will line up, and I will introduce you individually to her so that she knows that you are part of the crew with me, so that if you should ever need to get on board Horizon, she will let you on. Because otherwise, she does not let strangers on.
Wait. You pilot
a living ship?
In a manner of speaking, yes.
Right.
I mean, I've heard of droid starfighters, but that's amazing.
Hold on, is this one of those like creepy, you're just really into your ship kind of things? Or like, are we being very literal here?
No, it's literally a
literal,
droid
yeah,
piloting a ship. Or no, it's a ship being a droid. How does that work?
You fly on a droid?
You will see.
Well,
he just kind of gestures with like a follow me as he like heads out.
Ashe is right behind him.
Yeah, I'm following too.
So Rashi's gonna ask Enoch, if your ship is actually alive, you need to introduce it to my ship as well. You said South Hangar Bay?
Yes, that's the one that I have. Oh shit, what's the word I'm trying to think of? Where you take something or you... the character I'm blanking. Commandeered, there you go.
Yeah.
That's the hangar that I've commandeered for Horizon.
Thankfully, my ship's also parked in the South Hangar Bay.
This sounds like it was parked in the South Hangar Bay kind of situation.
I have a comment to say on that, but I gotta wait till you meet Horizon to say it. I wonder if Matt's just having technical difficulties.
Oh no, ego rescue.
Okay, Matt's just
Now-
observing. Okay, I just wanted to make sure
Now-
you're really, really quiet.
Now hang on, y'all. We need to wind up the little droid. Where's the key?
ship winds up? That isn't completely
No, the
impractical.
little robot right there. We need to wind him up so he can walk.
That one is a... Oh, wait. You're a robot? That one, like, hard narrows her eyes at him.
Higo, I think you need to change your processor again. You're powering down.
Are you okay, Hugo? Or Higo?
Apologies.
Do you take
I-
oil?
No, that would be rather ineffective. But I'd love to see how it tastes.
Ooh, that's a
Apologies.
service droid. Is it? Oh, this one is here to clean the council room. We should let it go. Like,
No.
clean it.
His name is H360. He's one of us.
This is Hugo. He's a scout for the team.
Higo, Ashy.
Out of character. Am I saying Hugo?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hugo.
Okay, Higo. Yeah, sorry. This is Higo. He's the scout for the team.
Okay, my ship is in the northern hangar. Do not touch the stuff to...
Epsilon. He's not a service droid.
Oh.
He's
No,
a part
he-
of the crew.
He's part of us, sweetheart. We need to get him some WD-40.
What she said.
Oh. She looks like a lot less enthused now.
Besides, Epi, you destroyed like 3 other servant droids.
Yeah, they all look the
I'm
same.
pretty sure the count is 6.
7 if you count them before we got here.
Aren't you like part robot?
I'm
Ashley's
not.
just wiping her face again, going, "What am I with?"
You get
I-
used to it.
Not part of a robot.
You
I
got
have-
parts like one.
They are augments. It is different.
Not really.
If I cut off your arm and I gave you a mechanical one, it would be an augmented prosthetic, not a robot arm.
Does that mean I could punch you just harder? Because, sweetheart, let's go.
I
Oh
mean,
no.
Enoch, let's lead the way. Let's let them argue.
He's been walking this whole
Yeah,
time.
I'm
Yeah, Ashley's right behind him.
I figure this is a conversation as we're walking.
Yeah, it's a
Wait, hold on.
Right.
Matt, are you following along, or do I need to drag you along with me?
Higo has his wrist pad open, which is sort of integrated into his arm. And you see he's basically flicking through a catalogue of weaponry.
Because he got paid. He's like, "Oh, it's payday. It's weapon time."
Basically.
Thing is, he arrived on the ship with no weapons, with bare bones like his body. With when I say bare bones, it's like when you have like your standard droid, they have obviously like the outer plating to hold all the wiring, all the servos inside, like keep it covered, look nice. He had that for a battle droid. That's both weird and bad, because one, it's weird. Why wouldn't he have armor implements on his body? 2, what type of battle droid doesn't have armor on the body? So, yeah, he's basically came here bare bones.
You're naked. Get dressed.
Reminds me of that scene from episode 1 where C-3PO is like, "Excuse me, but what do you mean I'm naked? My
Yeah.
parts are showing."
That's kind of what I was thinking, not even gonna lie.
Apologies, I was merely browsing the station's inventory of weaponry and armaments. I had mine destroyed before I was able to arrive at this station. Do not worry though. With these credits, it should be more than sufficient for me to regain the variety of arsenal that I had before.
You know, my sister Dora always says you're never fully dressed without a smile.
If the droid smiles, I'm killing it.
I do not have a mouthpiece, nor the necessary muscles in order to contract and create what you know as a smile. But I would love to, and it would be amazing if I could smile. It'd be so cool.
Epi, you can't kill H3. Do not kill H3.
This thing is obviously borked, though.
Can you build it a smile? I'm pretty sure one of your twinsies could.
Nope.
I bet I could ask them nicely and they would.
Nope.
You're not my supervisor. You can't tell me what to do.
But I am their supervisor, and I will tell them no.
They have their own free will, sugar. Just watch me, darling. I always get what I want.
I can tell.
Unless it wants to be
As
fun.
you guys
Get the
have
number.
been walking and having this conversation, and Higo's been shopping, and the various conversations that have been integrated between it all, you guys eventually get to the docking bay that Enoch was talking about.
As he enters the docking bay, you'll see Enoch with his right arm like held up at 90-degree angles, like the fist, like, you know, like kind of stop motion or whatever. But it's just like a really quick, brief motion as he walks into the hangar. And as you guys all enter the hangar, you'll see a shitload of non-normal hangar stuff. Like there's these like big, thick ropes chained to the one wall. There's like a couple giant, what looks like balls that are around. There's one spot where it looks like there's these big like cow roller brush things, like, you know what they have in cow pens for the cows to like rub against to scratch their backs and everything. Just a variety of strange things that look like enrichment toys, but on a larger scale.
What is there?
And in there you'll see a large, sleek, beautiful black starship that's parked in one section. That's just like sitting there, looking pretty. And then Enoch will turn to the group and be like, "Everybody please line up side by side over here." And he'll just kind of gesture.
I line up.
Ashley joins.
Ego will oblige.
Is Higo next to Ashley?
He is wherever he is.
Well, if he ends up parking next to Ashay, because while she was thinking about it while that's going on, she's actually going to reach into her pocket, pull out some lipstick because she has to, you know, look pretty and everything. And it's actually going to use it to draw a smile on his face. There you go.
Can she reach up to 7 foot? Can she reach up to 7 foot? Just to put that out there. Can she reach up to 7 foot?
She has the
Because
force.
he's tall.
She has the force. She can work it.
Excellent.
Congratulations, Higo. You have a smile on your face.
You have a smile, and it is so your color.
Epsilon like starts
Ego
reaching
doesn't
toward
notice.
his head. Like her fingers are crackling with electricity. She slowly starts reaching toward his head from behind.
Well, now,
I can
don't
see
you?
you.
Lovely. It matches your paint pretty well. That's a good color scheme on you.
Well, thank you very much. I don't know what's going on, nor can I sense what anything is on my face, which you're all staring at. But I assume it's good.
I hold out a mirror and show it to Ego so he can see.
I'll point out Juvia lets everybody go first. She is polite in the sense that she lets everyone go before her. She will be last in line.
Epsilon's gonna like pull her hand away with mild alarm when he points out that he can see her from behind, and just go like as far away in the lineup as possible from him.
So start of the line.
So if I understand correctly, it's Navir, Ashe, Higo, and then what? Juvia, Epsilon?
And Arashi.
And then Arashi's at the end?
Yep, Arashi will be at the end for plot purposes.
There we go.
Whatever side has the most bodies between her and the droid, be that the front or the end.
I'm just imagining Epsilon being like, Arashi, switch places with me.
Right?
Probably the front.
Probably the
We'll
front.
say Epsilon's at the front.
Anyway,
Just
we're
so
all
that I
lined
know
up.
the order to introduce.
Yes,
We're all
let's
lined
let
up.
Epsilon be first for this. I need Epsilon's reaction real quick. So, Enoch.
Oh dear
Oh my
God.
gosh, yes. Alright, so I've been waiting for this for so long anyway.
Oh no.
She really has.
Once everybody has lined up and they're all ready, Enoch will look over to his ship and give a short, sharp series of whistles. And then the ship where it had been standing, it turns and looks at everybody. And then it starts to walk towards them.
Oh, that's
Because this is what she looks like. Hold up, in the art channel, you'll see the pictures pull up. There we go, it should see it now. This is
Is
the
it like-
ship.
Does it use like its little wheels to like sashay over?
Oh dear God, that has fucking legs.
Yep.
Wow, she's amazing.
When you
Whoa.
up until now mistaken as like the landing gear, you have come to realize those are legs, and the wings of the ship are quite literally wings.
They weren't just like the airfoils folded down, they were literally arms like a bat.
You all kind of come to a start realizing that the event horizon is, in fact, a sentient, living ship.
It's Derek.
What does it look like in the Force? I need to know.
I mean, it looks like a living creature in the Force.
Yeah, you like see the outline, and you know that you're not supposed to see the Force on a ship. This entire quote ship exudes the Force. This is not normal. Like
I'm
you
like-
do that going up, and then it moved like an animal, which really disoriented you, Shay. Like you were expecting a ship. This is an animal, as far as your vision is concerned. To the rest of you, it is a ship-like animal. And has, in fact, responded to Enoch's calls and made her way over to the party.
This is one of the few times Navir is ever surprised by something, so he's genuinely like, whoa. Like, he's awestruck, but he's also just like, whoa. Like, he's usually not this surprised.
Out of question for the DM.
Yes.
Never thought I'd ask this. But since the ship is like sentient and almost looks like a bird, would Juvia have a good rapport with it?
I told
Because
you
of
that
her bird?
if she's good with animals, then Horizon would like her.
Yeah.
Juvia rolls animal
Like, make
handling.
friends with the ship.
Yeah, I mean, Enoch,
Oh my god.
like, you've seen Horizon behave a certain way with certain people, but, like, she seems really invested. Like, her attention keeps going to Juvia, and, like, her tail / exhaust kind of, like, wags. Like, you can tell that she really wants to meet Juvia. Which is really, really unique.
He kind of like holds his hand up. Just like sort of snaps his fingers a couple times to get her attention back on. He's like, we're getting there, just hold on. And then he'll like gesture to Epsilon first. It's like, this is Epsilon. And just that huge nose just like comes in and like focuses on Epsilon. And like, you can't really tell, but she's like kind of like getting her scent and like eyeballing her from wherever the fuck her eyes are. It's hard to tell on her like sleek black plating.
You just feel eyes on you somehow.
Epsilon distinctly takes a couple of steps back and just like immediately draws her double saber and is like holding it, like not in a threatening like I'm gonna fight this way, but literally just as like I need this lightsaber between me and whatever that thing is right now, and it's like right in front of her face.
Enoch just smirks before stepping down and gesturing to Navir, and it's like, this is Navir, and same thing, nose hones in on him to do her little like catching his scent and getting like committing him to memory.
Navir just kind of smiles and goes, nice to meet you.
And this is Ashay, and then same thing. She's just like, ooh, it's new people to meet.
Basically.
Shay is just like in awe of her because of how, like, and as Mirlook is looking at Horizon and the Force and everything, that is like actually kind of looks over to Enoch. Can I touch her?
Sure. Because her nose is like close enough to like reach up and tap the very tip of it.
So Shay's
retroactively
gonna reach
can
out
Nadir
and like
touch it when
stroke Horizon's nose, like very tenderly, like, you know, like reaching out with the Force, so just kind of petting with both the Force and her hand, so it's just like letting know, like, I feel you, and I'm trying to understand you. And you're fucking beautiful. And she's not saying this out loud. She's just like emotion. Like I imagine Enoch can probably knows just the emotions and everything that is. Ashley is just in awe of her. She's beautiful.
Horizon seems to sense this as well, and just kind of like you can see what would be the equivalency of a tail wag, and this big ass ship nose nuzzles your hand. You have befriended the ship.
Ashay is very pleased to have befriended the ship, and she's just lost in awe of petting and stroking and connecting with the Force. Like, oh my god, she's amazing. Like she's kind of like literally stuck in a feedback loop of like just being lost in the ship at the moment. I apologize.
Enoch will just
Do not
kind of
apologize.
at some point gently take Ashay's hand off.
You can feel like she's kind of like reluctantly like not like moving it away, but she's like her fidget like wants to touch out and just.
Touchy
And
time.
he moves down. He's like, "This is Higo," and again focuses in on the droid.
What a remarkable
Her nose
specimen.
lifting.
Just slowly leans in. Dunk! Accidentally headbutts the nose. Apologies. Sensors need calibrating. Puts hand out, misses. I will get this eventually.
After you miss, Horizon's nose dips and catches your hand.
Aha! I
Because
succeeded.
she took the headbutt as playful affection, and that means you are correct.
Yay!
And then he moves down. This is Juvia.
Didn't even hesitate. She is immediately nuzzling Juvia, like she's been waiting for this.
Juvia's like doing the petting. Aren't you precious? You're such a good girl. Oh, yes, you are. You are such a good girl.
For the first
Oh my
time,
god, Juvia having so many hands makes it even better because
Yeah, she has like multiple hands. She's just like,
for the first time, whether you guys have been like kind of been debating internally whether this is a creature, except for Shay, have been debating whether it's a creature, a ship, you hear what could be the equivalency of whale noises, of happiness, as she is getting all of the pets from Juvia.
like the kind of like clicking and like happy squealing kind of whale noises.
Yep. And it makes you guys realize, oh shit, she's not mechanical.
oh my stars, you are so cute.
Once Juvia's had like given her enough pets, Enoch kind of puts his hands on Horizon's nose to like push her down to Arashi. It's like, and this is Arashi.
Arashi will remove one glove, place a hand on the nose of Horizon, and then the hand changes to kind of be the same skin and everything as the ship.
Enoch is intrigued.
After a few seconds, Arashi will take the hand off, put the put the glove back on, and then point over to the far side of the hangar. And there's a small ship over there that looks kind of like a manta ray. That one is my ship. It's not as cool as you are, Horizon.
Horizon lets out more happy whale noises at the compliment. You get the feeling that Horizon, while may not be able to speak to you guys, can absolutely understand every word you say. And is pleased to know that she is better than your ship. That's her takeaway.
Ashay is going to figure out a fucking way to be able to actually talk with the ship and actually learn and everything. She's already got like a thing going. She's going to have a thing going. You pretty much, it's like, I don't know what I'm really going to be able to do with this, but all of a sudden with this mission and everything, but right now, this is amazing.
Horizon is soaking up the attention. Like, she is completely happy. Like, new friends, I got complimented. It's a good day. Very much Padfoot energy.
But
For those of you who know Padfoot.
I apologize in advance, like out of both in character and out of character. There's a reason that like other ships aren't allowed to park in this hangar. It's because Horizon has a tendency to clamber over things, and she would be like scrambling all over other ships just because.
Which you notice at this point, she's realized that there is another ship here, and you see her crawl over and kind of like start sniffing at Arashi's ship. Just curious.
Children, don't worry.
Just like the most delicate like little nudges with her nose. It's like she knows that she's big, so she's always got very careful, precise little motions with the tip of her nose as she explores things.
She seems to be accommodated with Arashi's ship, understanding this is friendship. This is safe. Do not hurt.
Just a little little pat with one wing.
Yeah, pretty much. Pat, pat, you are friend. It is the cutest fucking thing any of you have ever seen.
Ashay's going to lean close to Enoch and just go, "She is the most beautiful and precious thing I've seen in a long time. Where did you find her?"
I found her on a planet, and she was injured and alone. And we created a force bond. So it would appear that whatever she is, she was built to bond to a pilot until either one of them died. So by healing her, I accidentally formed that bond, but I don't regret it for a day.
I wouldn't either.
As you watch the giant ship move over to the giant roller brushes, and she starts like scratching her back against them. Looking like a dog.
Yeah, she gives very much dog energy. Like, but
she is simply absolutely precious. I want to get to know her so much more, and I'm very thankful for the chance to be able to do this.
Yeah,
now that you've introduced, she won't eat you, so.
Well, that's
Which,
the
if anyone's watching her, as she like hits the right spot, her like head goes back, and you see her mouth split open into like the front of the ship splits open into a 4-pronged jaw kind of thing. And she's just like, "Oh yeah, that's the spot."
Oh, Nithilis, hold up. It has a mouth.
Yeah, it has a mouth.
Shay's just looking over to Enoch and says, what do we feed her? What does she eat?
I don't want to know.
She'll eat a variety of meat items, the nerfs, boar dogs, pretty much any meat creature. She's eaten people before.
What's she have?
Another reason why I introduce you, so that she doesn't eat you.
Also, out of character, how big is she?
She's huge. She's a medium-sized ship, so Actually, let me post the schematics for her blueprint to give a better idea of how big she is compared to the living quarters.
Yeah, because I'm trying to figure out, like, if need be, could Horizon nom the fuck out of a crate dragon?
Probably.
She probably could.
Most likely. She is enormous. Like, she probably could take a crate dragon on. She's fantastic, though.
And
Like,
win.
I'm not gonna lie, I want to see that.
But yeah, so that's the floor plan of roughly how big things are inside her. So
That is really unsettling.
oh,
So
yeah,
Enoch, this ship can, or Horizon, I suppose I should name it. It can breathe in space and on planet.
she has a very specialized system. When she's planet side, she breathes like we do, and she refills her lungs before going into space. And then, much like creatures, air-breathing creatures who dive deep into the sea, her body then just recirculates that oxygen while she's in space and allows her to hold her breath for weeks at a time because she just cycles through and cleans the air, and it very slow metabolism that way.
What's the limit?
I have not yet found out.
I hope we never have to.
I have so many questions I don't want the answers to.
And she let you know if if you're reaching a limit.
I'm sure she would, yes. Or she would just ignore me and go straight to a planet.
Fair enough, fair enough.
Actually, that's another question I should ask. Do you pilot Horizon, or does Horizon pilot itself?
She is entirely her own pilot. There are controls, but that's only for me to help her with really tight maneuvers that she might not be able to do herself. But otherwise, she does her own thing and I just get to sit back.
So it's more like, the controls are more like a harness than an actual you telling it what to do.
Essentially. She can ignore them if she wants to, or allow me to help her.
How do you get in? She just looks like really perturbed. You can tell she has 1,000 questions, and she really doesn't. She's not sure she wants the answers, but she has to ask.
I can demonstrate. He'll give another whistle, and Horizon will kind of perk up and then scamper over. And then he'll make like a sort of like, he'll hold his... He'll make like a circle motion with his finger, like, lift the hand up and do like a little, like, whatever motion. And she'll sort of plant her wings and then lower her chest down towards the ground. And you'll see in her chest, the flesh just kind of like split open at like roughly where the sternum would be. And then you'll see like a ramp essentially unfold out down to the ground.
It's like the exterior of her is creature with like an internal section that is what you would expect to be in a ship. It is so unlike anything anybody has seen before.
My ship could go on its back like a doggy backpack or vest.
It really could, though. Yeah.
Ashley's just looking at the inside of this and like, oh wow, can we go inside?
Yes. He'll walk up the ramp and kind of pause at the once he's inside. He's like, this is a channel of sorts that's built in between her collarbones. The bones are what supports this.
I follow behind Enoch.
Yeah, like Ashley's already up there as well, and just kind of like carefully touching the inside because she's just all in lost. Like, whoa.
For one, Epsilon will touch nothing as she follows. She's like hugging her crossed staff really close and just like looking around and making sure not to touch anything. She's uncomfortable.
And there's like another little inner door that kind of spirals open. Like, I don't know what the word is for those like round doors that like spiral open and close.
I think that is
Camera
Whatever,
cycle.
it's like one of those.
Cycle.
Like
Yeah,
That works.
the camera
That-
shuttle.
that opens to reveal a short little staircase that goes up and into the ship.
Real quick, out of game, when Navir touches like the ship, how does everything feel? Does it feel like the same metallic structure you'd find in an ordinary ship, or does it feel a little bit more like organic, like you're touching the inside of an animal kind of thing?
Yeah,
Once
I'm
you're
also curious as
actually
well.
inside the ship, the walls themselves, when you touch them, they're warm, and depending, like near the front, you can kind of feel a heartbeat through the walls itself, like resonating kind of thing. And it's kind of soft. It's not quite like human flesh, but like you can tell that there's like this wall is like being maintained by some kind of system. And inside you can hear very slow, so you might not register it at first, but it's kind of like a bellows sound, and it's like as she's breathing in, you can just like hear like her lungs, which are actually running up overhead, filling with air, and then slowly exhaling.
Yeah, Ashley is just like, pressing herself against the walls and everything like that. She's just feeling it and like basking in the feeling of the force and this thing being live. You've lost her in awe. Like, you're so used to her being very casual and drinking, a wine or coffee or tea with you and talking and everything, that being very, fancy. Yeah, right now she's not being fancy in the slightest. She's just actually like being like an excited child. Almost.
She is literally a child in a candy store.
Yeah, she is.
Navir is also very interested, but in a lot more like scholarly stoic way, just kind of, okay, just kind of looking around. And he does turn to Enoch though, is like, quick question, this is gonna sound weird, I apologize, but does the Horizon ever, can the Horizon eject us from inside?
She can't forcibly.
Basically.
She can't forcibly eject you, but she can let you know she wants you out. Because believe me, when she's jumping around outside and you're inside, you have to brace yourself.
Good to know.
And that's why you have to respect her, because she can feel what you're doing inside here. She can feel where we're walking. And if you were to say, punch the wall, and he looks at Epsilon for a moment, she will feel that, and she will not be happy with that, and she will not let you back on.
She just like hard shakes her head like that has not crossed her mind. It's like, nope. nope.
Yeah, don't punch the ship that can eat you.
Nope.
Please don't.
How does it dock?
Like a regular ship coming in for a landing?
I mean, like for the ships that have the docking, the thing that comes out of the side of the ship, connects to your side of the ship, and then they airlock, and you can walk through it. How? She's like trying to make hand gestures to explain this as she's trying to figure it out herself.
She just angles herself so that the opening matches up with that.
Oh.
You're thinking about space in a standard flat format. She can angle herself in any range within a 3D movement.
If I may ask,
What? Yes.
I do not wish any harm upon. What was the name again?
Horizon.
Horizon, for short.
Horizon. So I would like to convey that this is not out of viciousness, nor is it out of cruelty. But should a hull breach occur, or we are under attack, how is one to protect oneself from that?
Does it have weapons?
Actually, No, she does not. She was built for stealth and sabotage.
Wait, she was built?
Someone had to have built her.
I believe the integration of mechanical or partially mechanical presenting parts must have been manufactured in some way, shape, or form. I do not see evolution allowing for such a creature to live, for it has very intricate designs, only seen in handcrafted vehicles. But I must reinstate my question. Apologies for the interruption, but should... I forgot her name once more. I'm really sorry. I don't mean to do that a lot.
Horizon.
Thank
I
you.
mean, I feel like that could just be a character aspect of Ego.
Yeah, it really is though.
Ego,
actually.
do we have to fix your memory banks again?
Oh, I have tried. Access to them is difficult at best, and at most, completely and utterly inaccessible, or they may change how I actually am. And seeing as I do not wish to go back to a husk of ones and zeros, that would be absolutely terrible. I do not want to go back to that. Not at all. Please don't put me back in there. Please don't. I apologize. Again. The name?
Horizon.
The Horizon. Thank you. Should Horizon sustain outside damage, perhaps a puncture to her outer layers, her
A whole breach.
tissue. Affirmative. How is one to protect against that act in particular? Would the use of welding tools be used, or perhaps Bacta instead?
Those are solid
I've not had a breach get deep enough to reach to the internal structure where I reside. But Bacta would probably be how you'd heal the flesh part of her. But her blood does have properties, I've discovered, that change depending on the pressure outside. When she's gotten injured while in space, her blood, I've noticed, forms a seal over the wound so that it doesn't get affected by space and such. And then when she's on planet side, the blood flow will actually stop to that area, or at least slow down enough so that it still doesn't cause any problems.
Higo slowly looks at the interior and will tap on the... Is it metal? Is it actually metal? Or is it something like bone or like an organic synthetic sort of metallic thing? I know a bunch of those words don't go together.
What's underneath that kind of skin-like layer? But it gives a very muffled sound. There's no like hollow clang.
But what's like the texture of the material? Like, does it feel like metal? Or does it feel like, you know, someone banging on like cartilage? Like tapping cartilage?
Are we talking like one of the inside walls?
Yes.
Yeah, it'd be more kind of like, I guess cartilage or keratin is a better description. Like keratin, basically.
Brilliant. So Higo's going to very, very lightly tap on the keratin wall on the inside. I must document this for personal reasons. I'm just so excited to see how this works. I got a lot of research to do. I cannot wait to find out how this beauty works.
I'm just imagining Navir, Ashe, and Higo all have like notepads and pencils out and just scribbling like crazy, or just like typing on their data pads or whatever. And Epsilon's just like freaking out in the corner while Juvia's just like having the time of her life.
It's going straight to his
Picture
brain.
Epsilon crouched down, hands over her head, like, oh my god.
You're like
she's not touching
exponentially
anything.
existing. Yeah, she's like, is this what it's like to be in my body? Is this what a gank is as a creature?
Epi, it's okay. Breathe.
Juvia has to do the mob thing and like pat Epsilon's head.
It is almost gank in design. It is organic, but it is machine. It is much like myself, but I have never seen anything of the sort that we have ever created or heard of. I am impressed and appalled.
And for Juvia's interest, she'll notice, basically once you get on the ship, to the immediate left is like a little section with some flight seats, but just past that is a galley with a big hydroponic garden. All sorts of plants. Totally has its own little gravitational field generator to keep those plants from being wrecked.
Juvia makes a beeline for there because she likes plants. But she also makes a note and she goes, you know, Enoch, this ship reminds me of a Purgle. That might be some of the design specs for her.
Ah, yes, the space whales. I've heard about those.
From what I've been able to pick up in what Horizons told me, she is like her own race. There is a race of things like like Horizon out there. Very far distant in space, very rare to see. That was actually how she got injured, was one of those things. Did not take kindly to an abomination like her. And whatever had been done to alter her. But she has encountered Purgles before, and she's on good terms with them.
Quick question. What did you say had injured her or had attacked her?
Creatures like her. Creatures that are like Horizon is like my own little homebrew spacefaring kind of race of creatures that look like these ships. And basically somebody was like, those would be useful. We're going to take some of those and we're going to genetically alter them to be living ships kind of thing. So Horizon had essentially found a group of these in her space travels by herself and was like, oh, hey, my kind, let's go be friends. And they were like, you are a fucking abomination, get out of here. And they like basically wrecked her and drove her off. So
Yeah.
so you never know, we might encounter more like these things.
Enoch, thank you for showing us around. I think I speak for everyone when I say, when are we gonna go for a run in this?
I believe that Enoch had already explained that should Horizon move or jump around whilst we were inside, it would not be a pleasant experience. I don't believe going for a run would be a good idea.
I meant fly, but you get my point.
He gestures to the 4 flight seats down there. He's like, well, there's spaces for 4 people, 4 crew to strap in for the takeoffs and landings, or very aggressive maneuvers that she has to make during flight. And there's 2 seats in the cockpit as well.
I call shotgun.
Quick question, is the floor... Can I magnetize my feet to the floor, if need be?
Probably not very effectively.
The floor isn't made of floor.
I am safely secured. Tang, 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 tang. Never mind.
Ping pong around inside.
I was mistaken.
Just pinball. That's fine.
I was incorrect in my previous statement. I apologize, Horizon, for the tummy ache. We'll issue additional head pats upon departure.
See, like that kind of thing, Horizon would probably understand. She did kind of do it to Enoch a few times when they first met. He was like, wee, and he's like, oh shit, as he goes flying. And also, to wake him up while they're like planet side, she starts aggressively bouncing up and down and just throws him from his bed.
I love that.
His bed has seatbelts.
There's a
I know
reason
that
the
feeling with the-
hydroponic garden has its own gravity generator.
Oh, do you know? I just realised. Apologies for the interruption, but okay. So the sensation you get if you move your head too quickly and your brain just slaps into the side of your inside skull.
I think that's vertigo, but yeah.
Do you think Horizon feels something like that, but in her stomach?
Kind of, yeah. That's kind of the feeling she got when she first started taking off with Enoch and he was not secure and he pinballed around. Because it took a little bit because she wasn't used to people riding inside of her. But they got a system.
She's like, oh yeah, you should strap down.
It's like, thanks Horizon for the warning now.
I like to imagine Horizon opens up the hatch in her abdomen and tries to peek inside, like, you okay in there? Hello? like does a handstand and shakes to try and get you out.
Does her internals generate a gravity field? Or when you are going through space, is it just, oh, I am floating now?
There are some gravity generators in here that kick in when we're out in space.
Okay. And I am just going to ask the question on everybody's mind. Do you have to take it out to do some exhaust business?
Does it need to go to the bathroom?
If it eats ...
Oh, are you referring to
Did
defecation?
Epsilon actually say ...
Yes, she did.
I believe the term you're looking for is defecation.
That's
Or
the
urination.
Yeah, oh, actually both. Yeah, does it do both?
I mean, she is an animal.
Is that...
Noted.
Is it normal? Is it just like any other creature? Is there anything? It doesn't shit gears is what I'm asking here? I'm trying to be... I give up. Does it shit gears? Does it piss oil? Has it ever vomited while you are flying and suddenly cockpit is covered in vomit? This is so weird.
Naveer's cackling the entire time Epsilon's trying.
If I may
it's
intervene.
like regular animals, but she does have things hooked up where any waste produced by the crew gets channeled to be removed via those systems as well.
So there is a separation between the interior in which is quote unquote mechanical and the biological part of the anatomy. There is a clear separation, correct?
Yes, for the most part. Things
For the
like
part
the
in which-
electricity is generated by her body's systems, biomechanical energy. She helps filter the air that we breathe, and deals with the waste and whatnot.
I do not breathe air. I do not breathe in general.
It's overrated.
How would you rate breathing out of 1 to 10? He says to Enoch.
A 10.
Maybe I'd like a 5.
Jesus.
Not everyone has augments to be able to not breathe, Epsilon.
That sounds like a skill issue.
Says the one cowering in the floor over a space whale who has mechanical parts.
I am not cowering, I am scanning.
I believe
This is frighteningly of design.
I believe the correct anatomical name, if that is indeed the right wording. Apologies, my database needs updating. I believe it's a quetzalcoatl. Did I cut it out?
Quite subtle.
I just have to remember what the fuck quetzalcoatl means.
I think
my brain got DXE'd.
It's literally the
I
type
just
of
picture
animal.
the giant pterosaur.
I was like, I know it, but my brain just went nope.
If you've seen Jurassic Park, if you've seen the recent Jurassic World film, it's the giant bird.
Yeah, I realize that now. I was like, I know that, but my brain just shut off completely. But I mean, out of character, really good. It's a pretty good assumption.
Also,
Finn,
side
that's
note,
the wrong
that plane
campaign.
gif, that's literally what partly inspired. Like, if you've ever been on a plane, that's what it's like being in a takeoff with Horizon when she's like doing the running takeoff. It's like heavy rumbling as she's running along, and then she launches into the air, and it's just like, wee.
Yeah, like she runs. She does not roll like a plane or a regular ship might. She runs. She does not levitate. She runs, jumps, and flies. That is how she flies.
It's got all these thrusters in various areas to help her push off into the air, and then she goes, woo!
Exactly.
That's her canonical sound now. It's the woo as she.
I'm here for it.
Lucy, I need you to draw a small, like a picture of like Horizon's face kind of wooing, just so we can make it an emoji.
Oh my gosh, yes. Horizon emojis.
I'm here for Horizon emojis.
Got an anger face.
Yeah, we need to get like eventually just art for everybody so we can have like emojis for them.
Yep.
I'm here for it. After a while of you guys learning about the Horizon and kind of adjusting to the fact that this strange creature is also part of your party, an announcement sounds off on the station. And it happens to be Legion. So now the voices of Legion are kind of echoing everywhere. And it says, we are in the existing area and ready to meet with the party before we go to the Nar Shada da da da.
Epsilon gives the party a really serious look. No one ever correct him.
I don't think anybody ever was. It's kind of precious. She says she's still rubbing Horizon.
Pretty sure Legion's doing this of their own accord.
Good. Epsilon's at least stopped being right. She's at least stopped being unsettled, and now she's kind of been wandering around, just like scanning everything with her eyes and her internal wrist-mounted data pad. So now she's like getting scans of everything. She's like, this is perturbingly gank to her, and she's like, I've never seen this, but this screams gank. and I am as bothered as I am intrigued.
It's a very strange layout. Like you'll notice like the way the ceilings will kind of dip or the way some of the walls are curving, and basically you can assume that it's because it's working around her internal anatomy that she has. Like, oh, we've got this weird kind of curving around something, so there must be some kind of organ on the other side of that wall.
Yeah, she's definitely trying to essentially get a mapping of its internal biomatter versus this technological integration. That and her
Going to the
visual
cockpit is
love
fun.
that.
You have to crawl to the cockpit.
Yeah.
Oh God.
That's probably eventually where she wanders off from the rest of the group. She's just like, what's in here?
What's
It's like,
Oh my
like
God!
go
Imagine
to
she
the-
gets stuck.
Yeah, the twins will
There's
love
like
data, so.
there's a little staircase that the group walked up into her, and then there's 2 staircases on either side that curve up and meet above it, and then there's like another little scintillating door thing. And when that opens up, you'll see what looks like a tunnel that just kind of folds open to let you like climb up to the cockpit. Because it goes up her neck and between her esophagus and her spine, it will fold down to compact when it's not in use. You don't want to be in the middle of that when that happens.
Yeah, she just goes
Do
up
we
to the
hear her
cockpit.
when she swallows?
Probably will a little
you
bit.
Can hear organs. Yeah, it's intriguing. That's for sure.
And I'll tell you what, we gotta know when she's hungry.
Yeah.
I think Horizon is in need of sustenance.
Yeah, Juvia walks with Arashi because she's like, I've seen enough.
When they get outside, they see Epsilon up in the cockpit, just like, guys, look, I am the brains of the operation.
Horizon just like tilts her head for a moment just to kind of throw Epsilon off.
What's going on in there?
Smacks right into the glass. Just,
Epsilon, put on your seatbelt.
There's just like a deep rumbling like sound that you can assume is laughter.
Does she purr?
She can, yeah.
whole ship just vibrates and purrs. Massage.
No, you need them. You're back worked on. Just lie on the ground and let the vibrations go through you.
Yep.
Yeah, when we get the announcement, Enoch will kind of shoo everybody off Horizon because we gotta go.
My God, can
We have to go meet Legion.
you slide down her esophagus thing to like get out?
Honestly, yeah, you just slide down to the door. So it takes a little bit of getting used to because it can be a little bit fast sometimes.
She's completely for you. Hear this distance.
I
goes flying out and like skids on the ground for a little bit, like skips.
Yep.
It's hilarious.
On her butt.
Well, she like hits the internal like standing area, then has to back roll to get like roll down the steps leading out.
It's great. It's fantastic. It's
Yep.
a grand old time. It's actually kind of fun, Epsilon. Like you're like that. Actually, it's kind of cool.
Yep. She learned that one from Rolly.
Yep. But as you guys regroup and Horizon kind of settles in, like you literally see her kind of relax back into place, like she shifts and gets comfortable and just lowers, and now she looks like a ship now that she's standing still. As you guys leave to head to the existing quarters. So
Ashay's gonna wave at Horizon before leaving. Like, bye.
you hear a distinctive like whale noise that you can deter is her saying goodbye to the party.
Oh, okay. Quick question. This is very important for Ego. Very, very important. From outside the ship, floor to head, how far?
Probably about 15, 20 feet.
Damn. Higo just walks to her head, does like the uppies. He wants to pet. He wants to pet Horizon. He can't reach.
She lowers
She'll
her
oblige.
head.
He gives her chin scratches before reluctantly pulling away.
You see one of like her back legs start doing the dog leg like scratch thingy.
My God, the sound of that hitting the hangar floor.
Yeah, ow.
It was it was like a T-Rex walking around, kind of. When she doesn't, when she's not being stealthy, it's very much like the thudding of like a large animal walking nearby. But
she's
oh
a
boy,
golden
she can sneak up
retriever.
on you.
I love how Horizon's basically a dog, a cat, a space whale, and a T-Rex all in one.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Also, Angie,
Yes.
if you would like to check my character sheet, I do have the noted armaments that I have put in my character sheet. Also, would I be able to acquire the armaments?
Oh, very easily. That would take like no time at all because there is a whole like level of market that has the stuff that you would have ordered, have it all ready for you. So
Excellent, because I ordered a lot of stuff. Much like I was in the original Star Wars campaign, I am spoilt for choice when it comes to firearms.
it's true. As you guys make your way back up to the quote-unquote existing quarters, there is, in fact, Legion standing stoic still in the middle of the room, just waiting. Just existing, waiting for you guys to come back.
A pleasure to see you again, Legion.
We are pleased to see the Ashe as well.
Yeah. Many bros, have you met this ship creep?
Legion tilts its head a little bit. Does the Epsilon mean the pet of the Enoch?
Yes.
We have not met the pet of the Enoch yet. The Drea would not allow us to speak with the pet of the Enoch.
Oh, many bros, it is going to blow all of your minds.
That sounds dangerous. We do not want our mind to be blown.
She means that you're going to enjoy what you see.
It is going to be interesting to understand.
We would like to see this pet of the Enoch. We could sense that it is a unique creature, such as ourselves.
Very much so. It's beautiful.
Those are words for it.
Those are words for it. You're correct.
I will probably have more when I'm fully able to get it, but I've been kind of lost in just the fact of its existence and what it is and the uniqueness of it all. It's beautiful. It's honestly beautiful.
If the Ashe likes it so much, then we are very interested in meeting the pet of the Enoch.
She's a very good girl. I'm sure you will.
Legion nods, kind of in a this is the way. Yep, that is the way it is. Confirmed. Even though they have not met Horizon, they just simply agree. This is fact.
Navir also nods in the "this is the way" men.
Epsilon
With this
totally
connection to
does
the
it.
Force, it just, but no, I know that. Like, the Force is telling me that this is true.
Epsilon is familiar with this nod. She will also do "This is the way" nod.
So will Shay.
Oh god. What have I started?
Can we get
Enoch
on with
just raises
this
his
now?
eyebrow.
She's confused by how many nods are happening.
All the nuts.
Very much not.
Is there music that I don't hear?
Legion will look at Juvia and nod and say, "We are ready to commence the travel to the Nar Shada da da da."
How long is it going
Well-
to take for us to actually get there?
How fast is this station? That is a good question. Or are we going ourselves?
The Unity station is capable of travel as any ship is. We believe it to be fairly fast, though it is not the fastest due to its size. We will be ready to commence travel within 20 minutes, as we have already notified the staff of the station to prepare themselves for the travel to the Nar Shada da da da.
Well then, if we're going to be getting underway, maybe it's time to figure out what each person is good at and brainstorm what it is that we're going to do whenever we get there.
A lady never reveals her secret, darling.
I don't know how to respond to that.
I'm pretty sure you don't.
Well played.
Legion
Clearly,
will-
then.
Oh,
Go ahead. She was gonna say, clearly, you've never been around a lady before.
Been around many. None like you.
I don't know if I should be optimistic about that or offended.
I'd say optimistic. You're pretty unique.
Those are also words for that.
Those
You
are
better
names.
watch your mouth, child.
You can't even see my mouth.
The Legion tilts their head at that and goes, "We also do not understand how one is able to watch their mouth if they do not have what is called a mirror. How does the Juvia want others to watch their mouths without a mirror?"
He makes a good point.
On eye stalks. You can turn them to look at your own face.
Gross.
She just means be mindful of what she says. That's all she means.
Legion kind of gives a firm, understanding nod.
Epsilon will imitate him every time he does that nod.
If it's a this is the way nod, then Navir would do it as well.
Yep, every time he does one of those "this is the way" nods, she's gonna do it.
Those are literally the only nods he ever does. It's just this is the
Perfect.
way.
It's just like raises a brow every time it happens.
What am I not getting here? You guys leaving me out of something?
Right? Confusion. Physical confusion. I love it. Legion kind of is observing you all. He's just kind of quiet before attention kind of narrows on Higo, and Legion's head is tilted, just kind of seeming to hyperfixate on Higo.
Higo's going to copy him.
Are you two having a staring contest?
We cannot.
I do not blink.
We are unable to blink as well. The Drea says that means that we do the cheating at the staring contests.
Hold on, I got this. 4 eyes just like distinctly do like the chameleon thing where they lean over and then the like 2 Legion and then the other 4 go to Hego. I challenge you to a staring contest.
Juvie, I don't think that's a good idea.
Epsilon is trying to figure out which eye to look at.
Pick one, darling. Pick one.
I do
Like
not
slightly
have correct
starts
anatomy.
hyperventilating.
Apologies, Legion, for my... I believe it is inappropriate to stare. But there is something familiar about you. I don't know what. Maybe we met before I had my memory all messed up, but I'm glad that I have something to recognize in this vast emptiness of my memory.
Is this foreshadowing?
Legion's head kind of is tilted slightly and goes, we also feel a sense of familiarity with the Higo. We will have to look further into this. We have met many in our life cycle, but the Higo looks different yet the same. It is different.
It's just a droid thing. They all look the same.
I must agree with Epsilon.
Humans look surprised that he agreed with her. What?
Higo knows we all look the fucking same. Sorry, did we just swear? Shoot.
But you can curse, obviously.
Ah, goddamn. Okay, yeah, but Higo acknowledges that droids look very similar, and he doesn't have any distinguishing markings other than the sort of maybe now smudged smile.
The smudged lipstick, which may or may not have rubbed off on Horizon.
Yes. Horizon's got lipstick on her nose somewhere. Oh, I'm sorry.
I love that. I love that that's the thing. This is great.
Does Horizon have a
Both
tongue?
welcome.
Yes.
Oh dear. Okay. Maybe there was something I forgot to ask.
Yeah, when her mouth opens up, you see 4 essentially jaws lined with teeth, a tongue, and at the very back you can see like what looks like another set of teeth.
Oh.
They're kind of like an eel's, in which they will push out to grasp what she's eating and just pull it down her throat, so there's no escape once you reach those teeth.
You've really thought long and hard about this, haven't you, Lucy?
You have no idea.
Oh, I have spent so many months working out how the hell this kind of creature could survive in space and everything about her biology.
Yeah, she tends to do that.
Amazing.
Back and forth, plotting this out between her and I. I have been so excited for this. Anyway, as you guys are collectively together, Legion kind of seems to, his head tilts the other way, almost as if he is paying attention to something before he looks at all of you and goes, the crew is now ready in their spots. If you are ready, I suggest that you secure yourselves as we launch into hyperspace.
Sounds good.
All right, let's allons-y.
What she said.
Who is Alonzi?
Oh, Jesus.
she just means let's go. So has Navir officially become the translator of the entire group?
Kind of, because Legion was about to ask the same thing.
You know I can speak. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
You know I can speak for myself, right?
Well, you're welcome to do so anytime.
Ooh, sass.
I have noticed that is a habit of this party. It's like shoots Ashe a look.
Oh, shots fired.
Mental eyebrow raised.
That's true, you don't have eyebrows.
Right?
It's basically the situation of feeling the force of, I'm just raising my eyebrow at you, like, unimpressed. Okay?
As you guys
Anyway,
get
we go
situated-
secure ourselves.
Yep, as you guys get situated and prepared for launch, essentially an announcement goes through the space station to announce the preparation of launching into hyperspace. And once that is given a go, the ship takes off. And in the living quarters, you can see outside, like you've seen Coruscant, because you were hovering over Coruscant off to the side. You see the station slowly move and veer away from the planet. And once it's far enough away, it starts moving. And it's slow at first, and then suddenly you just launch into hyperspace. And you see everything just go into a blur before it's just this blue tunnel-esque thing. Now that you are satisfied in hyperspace, Legion, who has not secured themselves and has in fact stayed upright, shockingly, turns to your party and says, by our estimations, we will arrive at Nar Shadda within 3 hours.
Wait, what? That's fast.
That is why they call it hyperspace.
We may also be much closer to Nar Shadda than any of the other planets we have to visit.
With our station, we have secured hyperspace routes that are what the Viri had called the shortcut. So we may travel to the Nar Shadda in a faster set of time. Though we cannot dock on the Nar Shadda.
Fair enough.
So we're going to find out now what it is that we can do. Like, as of right now, is everyone just gonna split up whenever we hit ground and try and find whatever information we can and then meet back up, or what?
That sounds like a terrible idea to do on Nar Shadda.
I don't advise splitting the party. It doesn't go well.
Legion gives another this is the way nod before looking at you, Arashi, and saying, we are aware of the Jax saying that her brother is on the Nar Shadda, as well as the Arcadian. They will help you in finding the hollow bits from the glorious Revan, as they have been working in the Nar Shadda and are a great asset. Once we arrive at the Nar Shadda, we will help you find the Joseph and the Arcadian.
Okay. No further questions.
After Navir gives the reply of, like, the nod of this is the way as well, he's like, excellent. So, you ever been to Nar Shaddaa?
We have been to the Nar Shaddaa before with the Mira, as well as with the Viri. It is a loud place, and we are not very fond of it, but we will go there happily for the Mira and the Viri.
Well, why don't you tell us the story of last time you were there, since we've got 3 hours to kill. 3 hours to wait, I should say.
Legion will, in fact, launch into a story that does, in fact, take the entire 3 hours and will detail their time on Nar Shaddaa with Mira and Viri. Epsilon will particularly gleefully fangirl over this because it involves Viri extensively. And it'll just kind of talk about how they went there to set up a shop in honor of Mira's late adoptive mother and adoptive brother, and how they got into a fight because the Viri had upset somebody, and detailing of this fight, in which, of course, Viri kicks ass because they were just some punks on the street. It's actually a rather enthralling story. It kind of gives you guys a clue, for those of you who've never been to Nar Shaddaa, what it entails, and the fact that it is not exactly a high society place. It is the place where people go to hide. 3 hours eventually pass, and Legion kind of tilts his head a little bit before going, "We are at the Nar Shaddaa." And then hyperspace fades, and sure enough, you are in fact at the Nar Shaddaa, a vast cityscape planet that, as far as you know, has no native plant life because it is all city. Kind of similar to Coruscant. As you guys arrive, and you are directed to either one collective ship to go down to Nar Shaddaa, or taking your adjacent ships. That is where we will end the very first session. So we will pick back up with you guys arriving on Nar Shaddaa and starting your journey to find the Hollow Bits.
Nar Shaddaa.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that, Rob.